Despite returning several times, Arneson found that the library had little to offer him. Mira's linear marks were entirely different from the island's alphabet of curving letters, even if they did speak the same language. His only hope was to find one of the plans of an original Miran ship, and then make sense of it without the aid of words. Therefore, he continued his pursuit. It was on the third day of combing the library that Arneson stumbled upon someone else. A young lady sat huddled in a corner. Atop the desk beside her, a small candle cast its slight glow upon the book, covertly hidden between her updrawn knees. Leaning against the bookcase, Arneson laughed inwardly at her obvious attempt to hide. Then, slowly, her red head lifted. They stared at one another for a split second without reaction. And then her pale blue eyes widened and she slammed her book shut, hastily pushing herself into a more ladylike position. Laughing aloud, Arneson folded his arms. Before him, the girl's expression began to change from annoyance to puzzlement. For his part, the islander let her stare, while he in turn used the time to fully appraise her. She was about the age of his sister, he guessed, though her softer features and wider eyes made her seem even younger. Her slender, pale fingers, which gripped her book, looked like they had known little work and less sun, as did the rest of her. He could see the edges of 3 other skirts peeking beneath her heavy and bejeweled dress, adding to his guess that she was more than any plain castle occupant. Someone had carefully threaded pearls through the gently restrained auburn hair that fell down her shoulders. "I thought you might reprimand me for reading," the girl said finally. "But you can't, can you? You're dark-haired." Ignoring another exasperating comment about his dark hair, Arneson wondered, why should I ridicule you for reading? He could not quite remove the laughter he knew showed on his face. Pursing her lips in a coy smile, she shrugged, reopening her book as she said in a rush, "I knew someone would agree with me someday." Her voice grew slightly distant, if not slower, as her eyes once again skimmed a page. "Everyone around here says it is uncouth for a noble to read as a hobby, and uncivilized for a girl to read at all, much less to read stories." Imagining his sister's expression if she heard words like those, the islander felt his laughter rise to his throat. Though he did his best to restrain it, he only succeeded in making it sound as if he was choking. This seemed to make the girl feel that she needed to defend herself, though she did so with an open smile. "I think of it as a vacation, soothing all types of hurts, but I always must do it in the dark so no one knows. My nurse Sarah says it's a bad habit I picked up when Mother died." Arneson dropped his gaze in understanding, and she continued. "I only started to read, Mother begged Father to teach me to read, which he did while he would work on—" She glanced more guardedly at the boy before her, and then, her voice smoothing, she shrugged. "I started reading stories after she died, but now even Father couldn't order me to stop. You won't tell, will you?" Slowly, Arneson shook his head, still smiling as the girl dived back behind her book. A moment later, however, she looked up, her face flushed bright red. "Father would kill me if he knew I forgot all my court training in favor of a story." Regally, she rose, extending her free hand as she introduced herself with a new air in her tone. "I'm Princess Valoretta of Mira. Whom do I address, and from what place where the hair is black?" The fact that she was a princess came as no surprise, and politely, Arneson took the tips of her fingers, shaking them slightly. He turned red as she laughed. "I see I had nothing to worry about, nothing." Seeming to recognize the angry flush in his cheeks, she stumbled. "I mean, of course, in the matters of court. I'm sure you know plenty of things in reality." As she reddened herself, Arneson felt his smile return in slight apology. With a relieved grin, she pressed, "But who are you?" "Arneson," the islander replied simply in his open and yet least informative way. "I'm stuck on this island, continent, whatever it is, until I can fix my ship." "It's a continent," the princess replied. "You still haven't said where you're from. Certainly you're not from here. Even the savages possess lighter hair." Finally conceding, Arneson admitted, "Enchantress Island. We're not all dark-haired, although—" He paused to consider the truth of his thoughts. "I suppose most of us are, now that I think about it." "I've never heard of it," she mused. "But then I've never heard of anyone with your coloring." Even this did not seem to appease her curiosity, and she asked, "Who is your king that you don't know court etiquette?" "We proudly proclaim independence there." "How strange. Are you then savages?" Before he could reply to the seemingly odd question, she remarked musingly, "But no, even they have chosen leaders. How does such a system work?" Arneson shrugged, averting his gaze from her questioning eyes. Regardless, the princess pressed on with the conversation. "Well then, just to say I have not slacked in my duties, Arnachin of Enchantress Island. For your own sake, if a noble lady ever holds out her hand to you again, take it lightly and bow, at least slightly. Always bow to any noble, actually, at entrance and exit." Quickly she added, "Don't do it to me, though. I would prefer a change. Do I need to tell you the proper titles to use when addressing a noble?" Arneson shook his head, and as she started to add something, he finished for her with a smile. "But don't use them on you." "Exactly," she grinned back. "And never finish for a noble either. They think it's impudence." "Then I'll do it always," Arneson said, already hating the sound of courtly customs. "Simply to aggravate them." Laughing, the princess slapped him across the arm and then froze, her face whitening. "I'm sorry. I've been too open with you. Don't think anything of it, please." Soothingly, the islander shook his head, saying, "I prefer openness. It speaks from the heart." Embarrassment flushed Valoretta's cheeks, as swaying from side to side, she muttered, "Do you mind if I return to my book now?" Guessing she was acting completely outside of her training, Arneson grinned, shaking his head. As she hastily dropped behind her book, he slipped off into the corridors of laden shelves.